Arrives with Emma Greed, and Meghan explained that she'd been planning to offer plenty more products. Let's take a look.
Is one that launches and has their products available. These sold within 45 minutes, but she can spin anything in her favour.
Around 20 staff members have quit working for Harry and Meghan since they first moved to California.
Sir David Attenborough has narrated volcanic eruptions, vanishing ice shelves, and the secret lives of snow leopards. But nothing in his long career hit social media quite like the moment he looked straight into a reporter's lens and said, "Don't use my name." Those 4 syllables detonated at the center of Meghan Markle's freshly rebranded lifestyle venture, as ever, turning a feel-good beige-toned product line into a global punchline within hours. If you enjoy stories that peel back glossy filters and expose what really happens behind celebrity brands, tap that subscribe button now, because what follows is the wild, real-time implosion of an empire that tried to borrow credibility and got caught the instant a living legend pulled the plug. Quick roadmap before we dive. First, we'll unpack how Meghan's entire post-royal strategy leaned on prestige by association. Then track the birth of, as ever, the Attenborough clapback, the viral hashtag storm, the product fiascos, the boardroom panic, the Hollywood freeze-out, and finally, the bigger question every influencer brand should be asking itself. Keep watching because each twist is juicier than the last, and the ending leaves one brutal lesson hanging in the air. But before we peel back how 4 simple words turned a luxury jam line into a full-blown PR meltdown, hit subscribe and tap the bell. I break down the real stories behind celebrity empires every week, and you won't want to miss the next implosion. After stepping away from palace protocols, Meghan didn't disappear. She upgraded her address book, Oprah on speed dial, a podcast with Serena Williams, double dates with the Obamas, even subtle nods to Princess Diana in every interview. Each name drop acted like a booster shot for her personal narrative of purpose-driven modern royalty. The strategy was almost textbook PR. Attach yourself to pillars of unquestioned integrity and let their glow spill onto you. For a while, it worked. Streaming giants paid up, glossy magazines printed every empowerment quote, and late-night hosts crowned her the relatable duchess. The catch: borrowed light fades fast when your own bulb isn't screwed in tight. One direct rejection from a figure people actually trust, and the scaffolding collapses. Hold that thought, we'll come back to it. Early 2024, 50 tiny jars of homemade-looking strawberry jam land on VIP doorsteps around LA. The labels read American Riviera Orchard, scripted in Meghan's signature calligraphy. Instagram lights up. Mindy Kaling posts hers next to a bowl of lemons. The brand account gains 500,000 followers before a single SKU hits public shelves. 4 months later, the name morphs into, as ever, a quieter, more universal sign-off that's supposed to signal expansion from jams to teas, honey baking mixes, even a Napa Rose scheduled for July 1st release. The aesthetic is cottagecore meets coastal grandmother, cream linens, orchard sunsets, recycled paper swing tags. Every caption hums with sustainability, mindfulness, intentional living, yet behind the filters lurk legal headaches. Trademarks contested in Mallorca, supply hiccups that make sold out feel more like never had. Still, anticipation simmers until the day Attenborough's name appears in quietly tweaked web copy, claiming he inspired the environmental vision. No call, no email, no permissions, just a casual drop of the planet's favorite nature. Narrator into the marketing blender. In 99 years of documentary work, Sir David rarely wades into personal squabbles. His weapon of choice is gentle wonder. That's why his response, "Don't use my name," landed like a meteor. Reporters replayed the clip on loop. Comment sections erupted. For Meghan's Comes team, used to soft focus interviews and pre-approved talking points, the blast radius was unthinkable. You could almost hear public sentiment pivot mid-scroll. If Attenborough distances himself, something must be off. The silence from his Evers official channels only amplified the verdict. And just when it seemed the storm might capsize only the marketing deck, Twitter eggs invented a new hashtag that pushed the seas higher. Memes spliced Attenborough's voice over slow motion shots of jam oozing from overpriced jars. Here we observe the rare celebrity brand melting under direct scrutiny. TikTok creators staged mini nature docs where plush toy pandas begged not to be used for influencer clout. Within 24 hours, the hashtag topped 1 million impressions, trending above actual environmental news. Attenborough usually headlines, "The viral cocktail was potent. Beloved elder statesman of eco-truth versus perceived celebrity greenwashing." Even viewers who'd never watched a royalty channel clicked share because the story felt universal. Authenticity calling out performance, and the algorithm loves universal. But memes weren't the only cracks spreading. Food bloggers who sampled as Ever's new apricot jam found it watery, more syrup than spread. Culinary consultant Donna Collins publicly questioned whether the recipe had passed basic pectin ratios. Ingredient lists boasted organic where possible, yet lacked source transparency. Meanwhile, packaging claimed full recyclability, but skeptics pointed out the mixed material caps had no clear disposal guidance. A classic eco-buzzword trap. The press latched on, running jam, running credibility. Early customers who snagged the limited drops began selling half-empty jars on eBay for hundreds, framing them not as gourmet delicacies, but pop culture artifact souvenirs from a PR disaster. Scarcity suddenly looked less like luxury marketing and more like supply chain chaos. And as critics circled, the brand voice that once narrated every tiny victory went mute. Silence breeds speculation. Inside the castle walls of As Ever, the drawbridges were already rattling. First came whispers that 2 senior hires, one poached from Apple's wellness lab, another fresh from Netflix's consumer products brain trust, handed in resignations almost overnight. Days later, People, normally Sussex-friendly, confirmed a full quartet of departures. The LA Deputy Press Secretary, the UK press officer, and 2 private office aides all walked out within weeks, piling onto last year's exits of the Global Press Secretary and Chief of Staff. Internally, the news hit like a breached dam. Slack channels flooded with red flag emojis, NDAs were tightened, and a crisis call calendar filled every hour between Montecito and Mayfair. The timing couldn't be worse. Netflix, which had quietly assigned a reported 80-person production unit to film with Love, Meghan now found itself outnumbering Meghan's small and mighty brand crew by 10-1. That imbalance, insiders say, triggered turf wars over who controlled creative directions, streamer or Duchess. The marketing team's first instinct was familiar: craft an empathetic Instagram essay, apologize for the mix-up, pivot to a charitable angle. But every draft died on the table. An apology risked admitting false endorsement. A rebrand so soon after switching from American Riviera Orchard to As Ever felt desperate. Shelving the line would scare off investors already nervous about supply chain hiccups. Lawyers warned that using Attenborough's name without consent could invite both UK advertising regulators and California consumer protection watchdogs. Were one subpoena away from discovery, a consultant allegedly muttered during a late-night Zoom. Meanwhile, the public facade stayed frozen in sepia filters and orchard sunsets. Behind it, managers wrestled with ex-Attenborough leaks, emergency NDAs, and mounting contractor invoices, because nothing drains cash faster than hiring replacement talent in panic mode. The question echoing through every strategy deck was brutally simple. If authenticity is your brand's spine, why can't you speak for yourself now? Until that answer appears, the corridors of As Ever remain hushed, except for the sound of doors softly clicking shut. Influencers who once unboxed As Ever, hampers and appalled, Reels began archiving those videos, or adding hashtag ad removed at brand's request. Disclaimers that only drew more curiosity. A West Hollywood PR agency leaked that its client list received a quiet advisory, postponed any co-marketing until further notice. A Netflix producer asked on a red carpet about cross-promoting the jam line during season 2 of With Love. Meghan sighed and said executives were re-evaluating synergy to preserve editorial independence. Translation: the streamer doesn't want its billion-dollar household name splashed across a product under fire. Attending stylists felt the chill too. One told Variety she'd pulled As Ever teas from celebrity gift bags after a manager texted, PR 101, ever argue with a national treasure. Charity gala organizers, normally eager for eco-sponsorships, stopped returning calls. A Malibu Wellness Summit quietly replaced Meghan's scheduled keynote with an environmental scientist. Ironically, a former Attenborough collaborator, Paparazzi, noticed the fallout in real time, where Meghan was once photographed leaving Goop-style soirees. She now exited side doors or skipped events altogether. Even the Rose launch, hyped as a joyful Napa blush, landed with a muted thud. Critics pointed out the whiplash of selling children's flower sprinkles one week and alcohol the next, wondering aloud if the brand knew its own audience. What made the freeze-out uniquely brutal was its stealth. No dramatic public statements, no headline-grabbing cancellations, just a gradual dimming of invitations, calls, and collabs. In a town where access is oxygen, being quietly uninvited is more suffocating than an outright ban. Soft power doesn't explode, it evaporates. When a brand's backbone is borrowed reputation, one vertebra snapping can paralyze the whole body. Attenborough's forward veto exposed those hollow bones and delivered a masterclass in negative compounding. Social media mockery undermined customer confidence. Customer doubts spooked investors. Investor nerves validated media skepticism, and the cycle tightened like a vice. History is littered with similar implosions. A DJ-backed energy drink that vanished after lab tests showed illegal additives. A supermodel's skincare line that collapsed when dermatologists approved. Claims turned out to be unpaid Instagram shout-outs. In every case, the borrowed halo turned into a heat lamp, highlighting defects instead of hiding them. Rebuilding, if it's even possible, demands something celebrity brands rarely risk: verifiable transparency. Think B Corp audits, third-party life cycle analyses, on-camera supply chain tours, open-sourced ingredient ledgers. Consumers burned once won't accept gauzy promises. They want receipts, QR-coded, and blockchains, and short of that, every jar, bottle, or tea sachet will remind shoppers of the day a nonagenarian naturalist said no, and the castle of curated authenticity folded like paper. Investors already whisper about contingency valuation models if as ever becomes untouchable. At retailers, analysts predict buyers will scour the brand's IP for salvageable sublines while distancing from Meghan's personal imprint. Yet there's a wider cautionary tale here. In an era where influence is buying power and ethics are marketing copy, authenticity isn't just moral, it's structural. Borrow it, and you're running on credit. Sooner or later the bill arrives, and as Meghan discovered, the interest is calculated in public trust. Whether, as ever, can refinance with real substance or faces. Liquidation in the court of public opinion remains the cliffhanger. But one lesson is already etched in marketing textbooks. If your brand's brightest star is someone else's legacy, make sure the contract is signed, sealed, and sung in their own unmistakable voice. It began with 4 calm words from a man who has watched glaciers crumble and species disappear, yet rarely raises his voice: "Don't use my name." Those words triggered a chain reaction, from viral hashtags to runny jam reviews, staff walkouts, and whispered Hollywood cold shoulders that tore holes in a meticulously curated image. In the influencer age, authenticity isn't a filter you toggle on. It's a currency earned slowly and spent carefully. Borrow it, and the debt comes. Do the instant a creditor like Sir David wants his name back. Zoom out, and the cautionary signal grows louder. Brands everywhere leverage celebrity virtue to sell. Green, clean, or ethical. But one public rebuke can expose the scaffolding in hours. Consumers have evolved. They no longer cheer for perfect optics, they crave proof. Blockchain supply chains, public audits, open factory doors, those aren't luxuries. They're lifelines for credibility when the spotlight hits. Meghan's saga isn't just gossip fodder. It's a real-time case study showing how fast the market punishes borrowed integrity and how slowly it forgives. So here's the question for every viewer chasing the next collab or launching the next lifestyle line. Are you building on granite or an Instagram sand? Drop your thoughts below. Was Attenborough right to go nuclear, or did the backlash go too far? And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and ring that bell. We dig into these cultural implosions every week, separating manufactured gloss from the stories that really matter. Because the next borrowed prestige meltdown could be closer than you think. You'll want the full behind-the-scenes breakdown when it does.